Hello and welcome to my YouTube. This YouTube is, how well do you remember the early 1980s? I was 36 years old in 1980, working for Control Data Corporation in Washington, D.C. This is Washington, D.C. Here's where my office was, just 2 blocks away from the White House. So I was right in the middle of everything. So who was president in 1982? Well, that was Ronald Reagan. On March 6th, after 19 years hosting the CBS Evening News, this guy signs off for the last time. Who was he? And that, of course, is Walter Cronkite. Probably the most trusted man in television. What was this action movie? Here he's got this little gold thing and he's going to swap it out for this bag. And this picture tells you the title. And that, of course, was the Raiders of the Lost Ark. This woman takes her seat as the first female justice of the United States Supreme Court. Who was she? And she, of course, is Sandra Day O'Connor. President Ronald Reagan fires 11,359 striking government workers who ignored his order for them to return to work. Who were they? Who were these government workers? And the answer is air traffic controllers. What is this cartoon? What's the title of it? And this is The Far Side. What was the Miracle on Ice back in 1980? And I watched it, along with millions of others. And that was the United States Olympic hockey team beat the Russians in the Winter Olympics. Huge upset. What erupted in the spring of 1980? That, of course, was Mount St. Helens in the state of Washington. What is this computer game? Very popular on the early home computers. And this, of course, is Pac-Man. What was this scary movie? I'll even give you his famous line, "Here's Johnny." And that, of course, is The Shining. What cable news channel launched in 1980? And that, of course, is CNN. November 21st, 1980, millions of viewers tuned in to the soap opera Dallas to learn what? Why did millions, tens of millions of us tune in to watch this one show? What did we want to know? What did we learn? We learned who shot JR. Who did Mark David Chapman shoot and kill in front of the Dakota apartment building in New York City in 1982? And that, of course, was John Lennon. January 13th, shortly after takeoff, Air Florida Flight 90 crashes into a bridge and falls into a river. Where did this happen? What city did this happen? And that, of course, was Washington, D.C. On February 1st, this TV show makes its debut on NBC. What was the show? What was the title of this show? And that, of course, is Late Night with David Letterman. And this is his first host. I'm going to ask you what that guy's name is in a little bit. What is this movie that won the Academy Award for Best Picture? And that, of course, is Chariots of Fire. Why was Tylenol in the news in the fall of 1981? What was the big story about Tylenol? And the answer is, it was poison. Somebody put poison in it, and 5 people died. That's why today there are safety caps on all medicines, and there's that seal, tamper-proof seal, because of this. This opened in October of 1982. What is it? What is this place? Not necessarily the big ball, but what is the place? And this, of course, is Epcot in Florida, Orlando. Been there a few times. What was this Michael Jackson hit video song? And this, of course, was Thriller. What was this famous early 1980s spreadsheet program? Everybody used it. Had a very distinctive name. And that, of course, was Lotus 123. On February 28th, the final episode of this TV show airs. What was the show's title? And this was, of course, MASH. On September 5th, this guy becomes lead anchor for NBC Nightly News. Who was he? Very young looking at the time. And that, of course, is Tom Brokaw. Who are these guys? I'll give you a hint. It's a musical group. And they are Huey Lewis and the News. On November 3rd, this man announces his candidacy for the 1984 Democratic Party presidential nomination. Who was he? And this, of course, is the Reverend Jesse Jackson. What was this popular Christmas movie? The little boy wanted a Red Ryder BB gun. This was a Christmas gift from his grandmother, which he hated. His father won a contest, and the prize was this ridiculous lamp. And that movie, of course, is A Christmas Story. And I tell you, every time it comes on TV at Christmas time, I watch it all over again. Who is this singer? This, of course, was Prince. What show did this guy host for many, many years? And that show was Jeopardy! Alice Trebek. After Steve Jobs left, actually we fired him. I worked for Apple for 30 years. I was there. After Steve Jobs left Apple in the summer of 1985, what computer company did he start? So he's let go from Apple and he starts a whole new computer company. What was the name of that computer company? And the answer is Next. And eventually Apple bought Next and Steve came back to Apple. What famous highway was decommissioned in 1985? So it ran from Chicago all the way out to Southern California. I've been on it many times. In fact, I lived in St. Louis for a number of years. What was that highway? Route 66. There was a TV show called that. What was this popular 1980s movie? And that, of course, was Back to the Future. So I'm going to show you pictures of famous people. And I want you to tell me who these famous people are from the early 1980s. Who is this guy? I'll give you a hint, he was in Back to the Future. That is Michael J. Fox. Who's this rugged, good-looking, handsome guy? Think Raiders of the Ark. Harrison Ford. Who is this rugged individual? Give you a hint, he was a governor once. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who is she? This, of course, is Madonna. Who's this guy? I'll give you a hint. He's funny. He is Eddie Murphy. Who is this dynamic singer? And she is the fabulous Tina Turner. Who's this singer? Still popular. This, of course, is Bruce Springsteen. Who's this guy? This, of course, is Bill Murray, and he was the first host, or the first guest on the Late Night Show. And by the way, just for trivia, he was the last guest show on the David Letterman Late Night Show. First guest, last guest. Who is this lovely lady? Princess Diana. Who is this actress? Meryl Streep. Who is this rugged individual? Hulk Hogan. Got to tell you a little personal story. I don't know, it's in the 1990s sometime, I don't remember when, but I'm on a flight, a business trip, and I'm sitting in first class. I'm back around the third row in first class. Hulk Hogan gets on the plane. And of course, everybody on the plane goes crazy. And he is sitting in the very first row of first class on the aisle. So they close the cabin doors, and suddenly the cockpit door opens and the captain comes out, and he stands right beside Hulk Hogan, and he's looking all around, looking at everybody, and then he says in a very loud voice, "Okay, which one of you is Hulk Hogan?" And of course the whole plane burst into laughter. Now, you may not remember his name, but do you remember what he was? This is Leonid Brezhnev, and he was the Soviet premier. Do you remember this singer's name? Whitney Houston. Do you remember this singer's name? Girls Just Wanna Have Fun. Cyndi Lauper. And this guy who changed his looks constantly, singer, David Bowie. And this is a singer also. And this is Phil Collins. She's a singer. And she was Pat Benatar. He's an actor. He was in The Shining. And he, of course, is the great Jack Nicholson. You know, we hear this guy more than we ever see him now. For example, have you ever heard this? This is CNN. It's his voice, James Earl Jones. Luke, I am your father. Darth Vader's voice. Who's this funny man? This is Dan Aykroyd. So I'm going to show you pictures of musical groups. You tell me who they are. All popular in the early 80s. One of the most famous groups in the world. This, of course, is U2. And this, of course, is The Police. Who's this rowdy-looking group? This is Bon Jovi. Who is this pair? Eurythmics. And there's no mistaking them. Nobody in the world looked like this band. This, of course, is ZZ Top. What were these popular 80s TV shows? I'm going to show you pictures of the cast, and you tell me what the show was. You ready? Here we go. Oh, this was popular. That, of course, was the great comedy show, Cheers. The show is named after them. It, of course, was The Jeffersons. And this was the Dukes of Hazzard. This was Magnum PI. And these ladies were the Golden Girls. Who are these two studs? This, of course, was Miami Vice. Years later, when I lived in Florida, one of my best friends was the director of the Miami Vice FBI station, and oh my goodness, did he have stories to tell. Who's this? Give you a hint, it's a team. And they, of course, are the A-Team. Who is this? Here's a hint. This guy's in a robe, as in a judge. And this, of course, was Night Court. And this show was Murder, She Wrote. Angela Lansbury. Who sang Every Breath You Take? And that, of course, was The Police. Who sang Crazy Little Thing Called Love? And that was this group, Queen. Who sang Physical? And she was Olivia Newton-John. Who sang I Can't Go For That? Duo. And that was Daryl Hall and John Oates. Who sang Footloose? Big hit, #1 song in the year. This guy, Kenny Loggins. Who sang Jump? This group, Van Halen. Who sang Like a Virgin? She did. Madonna. In the 1981 movie On Golden Pond, who won the Academy Awards for Best Actor and Best Actress? Both of them were in this movie. I'll give you a hint, they're not young. Two great actors. And that, of course, was Henry Fonda and Katharine Hepburn. What a duo. So thanks for watching, and I hope you had some fun.